This is Community Connection, putting you in touch with what's happening within the community and on our campus. Here's your host.
Hi, I'm Rob Thomas, and this is Community Connection. And my guest here is Chloe Whiting-Stevenson, and we want to thank you for coming in and joining us on this segment of Community Connection.
Thank you so much for having me today.
We've got a great opportunity to share information with our audience about a performance that's coming up here on the Owens campus and the Perrysburg campus at Owens Community College, and it's going to be a great performance, and you're looking forward to it, and you're the director.
I am extremely excited about this opportunity. This is my first time directing at Owens Community College. I've done a lot of other work as an instructor and a choreographer here, but really taking on this role is exciting. And this production is especially interesting because it's a new kind of physical theater that Owens has not had an opportunity to do before.
Now, one of the things that you've done is you've brought in a visual aid with you. We'll delve into that in a little bit. It's here. What is the play? What's the name of it? And how did you happen to become the director for this performance?
Of course. So the show is called The Servant and Two Masters, and it's actually an adaptation. It was originally written in the 1600s, and it's an Italian commedia production. So Commedia dell'arte is all done with masks, and I actually have an MFA in physical theater, which I got through the Accademia dell'arte, which is in Arezzo, Italy. So I did a lot of study with Commedia Masters, and so as a result, when Jeremy, the chair of the Fine and Performing Arts Department, came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to do this show?" I was absolutely ecstatic.
What was that experience like when you had that opportunity to study it?
It was amazing. I had a cohort, and the 10 of us really delved into studying the different masks and different archetypes for theater people. And so we got to really find that physicality as well as the vocality, different voices. And of course, it was all with folks from around the world. So my cohort consisted of people from Italy and Greece and Turkey, so that was really wonderful to have that opportunity.
I was going to say, that must have been just having all that different cultures around you and being able to collaborate with people from around the world.
Yes, and being able to do so not always through vocalization, because often we were speaking literally different languages. So being able to do so through an understanding of body mechanics and how to communicate physically, it was immensely useful and a wonderful experience.
I have had an opportunity to experience some of the other performances that you've either, if not, you've had some role in it, usually choreographing, and one of them was She Kills Monsters.
Yes.
And I just thought that was incredible. Just to give you a little background on what happened was there are several choreographed fight scenes.
Correct.
Where the main character is slaying monsters.
Yes.
And using weapons.
Yes.
How do you go about and choreograph a scene such as the ones that were in She Kills Monsters, and what is that like?
Well, I am a member of the Society of American Fight Directors. I'm an advanced actor combatant, which takes several months of training and many hours into that. And you learn a lot about different techniques and skills for different weapons, which is very exciting. Actually, you folks will, if you see this show as well, there is another sword fight in The Servant and Two Masters, so we can never have too many sword fights, right? But it's very important for me as an instructor and a creator that everything is very safe and explained clearly and effectively to my performers. So we have a fight captain for this show. She's also a member of the cast. She learned all of the choreography, and she runs the other actors through fight calls at the beginning of each rehearsal. And it was very similar in She Kills Monsters. There was 2 students who were fight captains for that show as well. So that really is an essential part of that process.
As being a member of the audience watching it, just the way the actors were able to convey their death with a sword being plunged into them. Now, it was an illusion, an optical illusion. No one was, and you weren't using any specialized spring-loaded swords or anything like that. These were all solid, but their reaction when they were supposed to be struck or stabbed, that was what was quite interesting, I thought.
Yes, and it's all about that physical storytelling, which is so beautiful, and having an understand about how the body reacts to these things and what you want the audience to understand. An audience will go on that journey with you as long as you commit to your actions, just like any other performance technique.
Now, what do we want the audience to understand with the new performance that's coming up that you're directing?
So The Servant of Two Masters is a very physical play, and we are breaking all of the walls. So we're actually going to be bringing the audience very close to the action. We're going to set up risers on stage for this production, so you'll be close and intimate to it. And there's a lot of instances where our actors will be talking directly to the audience, which is exciting. Audience doesn't have to be involved in any way other than being active and attentive, but it really does give a different interpretation. It's very fast-paced, it's very comical, and there's a lot of physical humor to it. So we have a lot of people who fall down, who roll around, a lot of confusion, escaped identities, those sort of things. So,
are those universal stories that are being shared, or universal? How would you describe that?
So the story is very specific, but across the board, what's happening is we have archetype characters, or what we call stock characters. And these characters in traditional commedia would have been written into all of the plays. And what you folks are going to notice as you come see the production is that you're going to recognize these characters, even though you may not have heard the term Truffle Dino or Doctore before, but you're going to see the same kind of characters that evolved down the line into film or TV shows, and there's still that kind of old miser character or things of that nature.
So those two terms that you just shared with us, what do they mean? What would those be, and what would we look for to say, oh, I see what she's saying here?
So the Truffle Dino character is actually the main character of our production, and he's a servant character, and he's a bit silly, so he tends to mess everything up. And he's the servant that always gets away with it, so he doesn't actually do any work, but somehow he always comes out on top. And we see that a lot in modern day television and films as well, where there's always that character that kind of weasels their way into succeeding without doing all of the work.
The performance will be when? There are several of them. An opportunity for people to see
Absolutely.
something that works into their schedule.
So the show is going to be in November. It starts on a Thursday and it runs the 7th through the 10th of November. Our Sunday show is a matinee show, and this is a show that is open and accessible for all ages. It is very family friendly.
Now let's talk about the mask that you brought with you and the important role that it plays, because this is a play about masks.
Absolutely. So this is our Truffle Dino, and so he's the one that you're going to see, the wily servant character. And for him, many of the characters are masked, and so we're going to do a lot of discussion about the actors playing the characters. So the play you're going to see is actually a play within a play. And so we'll have times where the actors are not masked, and then they'll put their masks on and become these other characters. So it's very meta theater almost for our audience.
When you have a performance where you're utilizing masks, does the same actor have to be the same mask?
You know, in our production, yes. So we stick with, we have the actor playing that role, and then he or she takes on that character. However, in other productions, no, you can interchange actors, especially if it's always Truffle Dino for the show. It's very common that you'll have stunt doubles come in and take on those roles. That won't be the case in this production, but it's very, very common for older theatrical forms.
Well, Chloe Whiting-Stevenson has been our guest on this segment of Community Connection.
If your group or organization would like to appear on Community Connection, message us from the Owens Community College Radio Facebook page. This has been Community Connection